Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Regarding 365 Message Center show. I am Daniel Glenn. I am from Nashville, Tennessee. And you're probably wondering, wait a minute, this show normally has two guys. Well, that's true. Normally there are two of us, but Daryl, who is my co-host, is missing. Okay, he's not really missing. He's in South Africa somewhere in a bus, van. I'm not entirely sure what kind of vehicle, but I do know he's with a few folks that we all know and love. And they're touring South Africa, doing SharePoint Saturdays and speaking and having a grand time. And I know Daryl is in the chat room, so thank you for joining us from the back of the van, Daryl. So we have a few messages to cover today, actually 4. And I'm going to go for a record today. Well, not really a record, but we're going to go through these with not a lot of chit chat because people don't tune in to see me talking to myself. So hopefully those in the chat room will chime in and I can talk to them instead of just myself. Anyway, let's get to it. Okay, first message that we have this week is all about ToDo. And this is integration. They're announcing the integration of ToDo and Planner as part of Office 365. And users who opt in for this Planner integration will be able to see and edit their tasks that they've been assigned in Planner within ToDo. And I hope those that are regular watchers and listeners to the show will know that I love this. I love this because I don't like to have multiple places where I have to manage tasks. And we have talked about the ToDo integration coming across Office 365. And we've talked about how it's brought into Outlook, and now we're getting it in Planner. So fantastic. Yes, thanking Stephen in the chat room has said, hey, he does tune in to see me talking to myself. So welcome. I'm glad you're here then. All right, so the rollout for this, and this is MC176992. The rollout for this will gradually start in April, which is now, but it'll be completed by the end of May. And then when you take a look at the additional information, I just want to give a call out to the team because I absolutely love this. This is a link to a support article that shows you what it's going to be like rather than a link to an article that's old and has nothing to do with this or with this message, or a link to what is ToDo or anything like that. So they do make a note that this is something that hasn't been released yet, but it'll be when it is released, this is what it'll look like. So being able to do this and turn this on, I think is fantastic. And I'm really loving how they're bringing the integration. I think we've been talking about integration for ToDo for a while. And I know I have. As soon as it came out, it was like, great, but I already managed my task elsewhere. So how does this play in? This is fantastic. Love it. So the Stephen mentions that this is coming together as like the Holy Grail. I agree. Making sure we all want to be productive, and I don't want to be managing tasks in multiple places. So this is a great place. So, all right. Next message. This is MC177013. This is talking about adding team members, Microsoft Teams members. And this, you might be saying, well, we can do that already, Daniel. That is correct. However, this is talking about the ability for team members to request additional team members. So this is, I'm a team member. I think we need to add Susan into the team. I will be able to suggest that Susan gets added to the team. This is the one thing, another thing I want to point out, I'll get to in a second, but one thing I noticed about this is it says this sends a team join request on behalf of the user you're trying to add. So we don't have any indication as to, what this really is going to look like. And that will lead me to my second point. But I'm a little worried here that as a team owner, I'm going to get a request from Susan that she wants to join my team when it was John who is the one who did the inviting, if you catch my drift. So I'm hoping that it's going to say John wants to add Susan. I would expect that to be. I'm kind of thinking back to the way when you forward a meeting request in Outlook, for instance. What does it look like? It's a message from the organizer of the meeting and not you. And so it just gets kind of weird when you think, user A has invited me to this meeting, when it was actually user B who just forwarded you the email, the meeting invite. Here, I just hope it doesn't get confusing. I hope this is not the case. And if it is the case, just be aware it could be a little confusing as to who actually initiated the request. What if Susan, what if Susan doesn't even know you're requesting it, but then, I say, "Hey, Susan, why do you want to join my team?" And she goes, "I don't know." So anyway, the second point I wanted to get to was the additional information. Has nothing to do with this announcement. So this is a post from August of 2018. It talks about the different roles and what they can do, but it has nothing to do with this new announcement. So, back to the to-do message, it showed you what it was going to be like. Here, we have no idea. Looking in the chat room, Daryl, who's in the chat room, sorry you can't join me live, bud, says I can request that Daniel joins, but the request will appear to come from Daniel. See, that's what I'm afraid of. So definitely want to loop back and make sure your users are educated when they try to do this, when they try to initiate and request someone to join the team, that it will appear to come from the team. And then also educate those that are team owners that when they receive this request, that it may not be from Susan in this case. It may actually be John, or what was the name I used? I don't remember. Anyway, it may have been someone else who's trying to invite Susan. So anyway. All right, we got some good chat going on. If you don't join live, maybe try join live next time. We have some good chat going on. We have Phil in the chat, Steven, Suzanne, Daryl, of course, I'd mentioned. Dean is in, so and others. So feel free to join in the chat anytime we do the show. Next message is MC177121. The title is Updated Feature, New Setting in, get ready for it, CS Teams Meeting Policy. Yes, that is all one word, to manage meetings chat. A user may look at this and go, what in the world is CS Teams Meeting Policy? Well, that's actually a PowerShell switch. It's a setting that you use PowerShell to set. And what this is addressing really is all those times when, if you've turned off chat for your users, and one example that's given here in the message itself is, what if you're using chat in an education experience where you don't want your students to have chat enabled, but you want them to participate in meetings? They would not be able to chat in the meeting itself. So what this feature is trying to address is those times when you have chat turned off for your users, but you want to enable chat in a meeting. So this new policy, there's a new separate policy instead of using the message policy to manage chat, that's how you turn it off in that setting. You're going to be able to use meeting policy to be able to set and allow that chat. The rollout will be completed worldwide to all tenants by 5/31. So that's about a month and a little more than a half away, almost 2 months. I did want to mention here, it does seem like Teams rolls out features a whole lot faster. than other product teams to the global community. Meaning, with a lot of features we get from SharePoint or Outlook or Office, we have a long period. It's like in Office, you have this insiders program where a lot of people have been testing these features, and they get to a point in the message center and it's, we'll roll this out in the next month. Maybe we get a month's notice. Sometimes in SharePoint updates we've seen over the past couple of months, they've been, these have already started rolling out. Sorry, we forgot to tell you. But here I see, I don't know, it's just interesting. Teams rolls out globally, and gives us notice, but rolls things out globally without doing a lot of testing beforehand. I say that, but if you do have targeted release, you do get functionality beforehand and you are testing in a team. So I'm not knocking it. It's different. It's interesting to see the difference between the product teams. So that's all. All right. Steven says Teams has no first release. I thought if your tenant was in first release that you got those features first, but maybe not. I could be wrong. Trust me. Ask my friends. They know. So, and yeah, Stephen Colliers mentions that there's a lot of testing in tap rings. That's true, but tap rings are closed. They're not. It's not a open beta kind of thing. It's not I can turn a switch on anything to get that testing. So, so anyway. All right. Anything else? The last thing I want to mention about this is the rollout will be different depending on how you have things set up. Users with the upgrade mode of Skype for Business only, or with Teams Collab, or with Teams Collab and Meetings, do not have access to the chat tab anyway, and hence do not conduct that private or group chat in Teams. So this is talking about allowing that chat in all meetings. All right. So we'll move on to the last. This is MC177199. Changes coming soon in Outlook for Windows. And this is, and it actually says it in September 2018, and that should ring bells for people that was around Microsoft's Ignite conference. The coming soon feature was released for Outlook, where you could turn this on in your client and it would show you new features and get you there with those new features. And so based upon feedback of those users that have been using this setting, the coming soon setting, they're making a little bit of a tweak. So the tweak is the spacing in between the messages. Some thought was too big, so there's too much white space. Not only in between the messages in the reading pane, where you see all the messages stacked, but also where you're composing messages. So this is fantastic message in that. So we have the link here to take a look at the new density settings. That's what it's called. This density setting is where you'll be able to switch it back and forth, and it tells you exactly how to do that. There's a blog post that talks about how the original announcement that was made back in September. So you can read about all of the enhancements that was coming through this program of coming soon. But then the additional information is what I wanted to focus on. So this additional information, this post was put out with the announcement in the Message Center, but it shows you exactly what's going to be the differences. So you can learn about the coming soon, and you can learn about, in the what we learned, which is great, tells about the feedback that Microsoft received. But down here, we actually get to see what it's going to look like. So I think this is fantastic. We can see, well, that's not a great zoom there, but this is the view now with the coming soon, to be able to see the spacing that we have here. And then we have this tighter spacing, and it's not dramatic, but it definitely does. It shows you that there's a little bit less white space, and you're going to be able to see, as a result, more messages in that pane. As well as when you're creating a message, it's a little bit tighter, so that you can focus really on the content that you're creating. So I know that some people will love this because it gives you, a tighter viewing area, but then there's going to be some who don't like the lack of white space. This is something that I think I've gotten used to, this a lot of white space. I don't know which way I'll prefer it, but it does help to read and quickly scan your inbox if it's a little tighter. So anyway, let's see if anybody's saying anything in the chat room. Nope, not really based on this. So the message center, that's it. That's all we have 4. And I don't go through you'll notice that, Daryl has he's using the preview of the admin experience. And so he uses that, and then he marks messages as read. I don't do that. You'll see I've got the messages here, and it won't surprise you that I also have a inbox that I don't clean. I don't go to inbox 0. That is not a target for me, but that's just a little bit of tidbit for you. I did want to cover a couple things. I just was in Twin Cities, Minnesota, in Minneapolis, at the SharePoint Saturday there. That was their 21st SharePoint Saturday. They do 2 a year. It was a fantastic event. I got to do a session with Drew Madeline, MVP, out of Wisconsin. We did a session. It was a brand new session, all about how you do sharing and how you can come up with what you need to look at when you're thinking about an enterprise sharing strategy. We actually have we'll be doing a workshop around that kind of topic for SharePoint Fest Seattle in August. So if you'll be around, I'd love to have you join us at that workshop. And then my second session was with actually Sarah Haase. We did a session about Microsoft Flow adoption, using SharePoint News and a communication site to enable your users. So to learn about Flow, but also to share templates. It was fantastic. Both of those sessions, I had a really great time doing those. So just wanted to kind of throw that out there, mention those. And then the second thing I want to mention was also about involves Sarah Haase. We did our 3rd episode, released that of the coffee chat on 365 adoption. It's on the YouTube channel for Regarding 365. We really need your assistance for questions for the 4th episode. So please watch that episode, the 3rd episode, and toward the end there's a URL at the bottom. It's go.re365.show/coffee-chat-q. Q's for questions. So fill out that form, send in questions, so we'll have material for that show, and appreciate that. All right, that's it. I've taken 20 minutes of your time, but I hope it was very valuable. We do these shows, so trying to help you out with your task of managing your organization's Office 365 and Microsoft 365 environment. So thank you very much. Appreciate you joining. Appreciate everyone in the chat room. And Daryl, I hope you get found somewhere in South Africa and have a great time. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Appreciate it, and have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.